Hobby Lobby is an arts and crafts store that employs 43,000 people. Hobby Lobby has more than 900 stores. It is known as the largest arts and crafts retailer in the world. Hobby Lobby is not just your average craft store. For many, Hobby Lobby is an obsession. You can find just about anything you could possibly need to decorate your home. In today's episode, we'll discuss how David Green used a $600 loan to build a $300 billion arts and crafts chain. Green grew up poor in rural Oklahoma. His father was a small-time preacher who bounced from one tiny congregation to another. His parents wanted Green to build a relationship with church. They had a saying in their home, "Only one life, 'twill soon be past. Only what's done for Christ will last." Today, religion plays a big role in Green's life. Young Green would go weeks without having food on the table, but his mother would ask Green to donate to church. Maybe it was teaching from his parents that helped Green come up with policies for his company. His wife, Barbara, recalls her mother-in-law by saying she would give stuff when she might not have something to replace with it. Green's schooling career was full of challenges. He failed middle school. He had to repeat 7th grade, understanding that school was not for him. He started a work-study program during his junior year. He worked as a stock boy where he met his future wife. Most of the time in the store was spent sweeping floors and unloading boxes for 60 cents an hour. But there was one thing that caught his eyes. He loved the idea of buying something for 10 cents and selling it for 20. As time went on, Green briefly worked at the Air Force Reserve and got married. The 29-year-old Green was now working as a manager at TG&Y. TG&Y was a variety store that sold general merchandise. People would visit TG&Y for the best deals, but they would often ask Green if they could find a store specifically designed for arts and crafts lovers. Green, understanding that because of TG&Y's size at the time, they were unable to sell only arts and still make a profit. He took it upon himself to start making arts and crafts under Hobby Lobby. Excited, Green told his plans to his mother. His mother reportedly told him, "That's nice, Dave, but what are you doing for the Lord?" As his brother was following Dad's footsteps by becoming a pastor and his sisters were marrying a pastor, Green was seen as a confused man who was chasing dollars rather than becoming what his family stood for. In 1970, David and Barbara Green took out a $600 loan to begin making picture frames out of their home. They turned their living room into an arts and crafts manufacturing shop. The $600 which they borrowed was then used to buy equipment, but manufacturing was not as easy as they thought. The money they borrowed was running out. Regular house bills kept piling up. Understand that being an artisan requires lots of practice and time, and that the demand for arts and crafts was now. They decided to get help from the outside. They teamed up with another store manager in 1970 to manufacture their first of many arts and crafts products, a picture frame. The manufacturer would design and build frames, and the couple would then do final touches on the family kitchen table. After 2 years of hard work, they opened their first store, a 300-square-foot space in Oklahoma City. 3 years later, he opened a second store in town with 6,000 square feet of retail space. All this was achieved while working his regular day job at TG&Y. But after opening his second store, he realized that the time spent on his regular job could be spent on his business. He decided to quit TG&Y. His family was not on board with his decision because their store was still in the early stages and the money coming in was not enough to pay bills. At the time, TG&Y was doing $2 billion in sales and couple's small business was doing around $100,000. But as it turned out, the decision worked in his favor. By 2002, TG&Y was out of business and Hobby Lobby was doing $3 billion in sales. As remarkable as his life is, it does have controversies. Green and his family spent $500 million on the Museum of the Bible, which opened in D.C. in 2017. The museum had to return thousands of smuggled artifacts to Egypt and Iraq. The billionaire was also under fire for laying off people during COVID-19. Although laying off happened a lot with many companies around the world, but people were unhappy because of Green's reasons to let them go. He stated people didn't need to worry about their employment losses because God was in control. A preacher's son from a poor background, Green's empire has grown from a single 300-square-foot location to 915 locations in 46 states and $5.3 billion in sales. It's amazing what you can achieve if you listen to your customer. Until next time, have a good one.